everybody. It's Safi and Marco dishing out on the movies. And today we're on movie number 2 for Peter Boyle Week, Young Frankenstein. And it came out in 1972?
Huh?
It came out in the early 70s.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying it. So.
And it's a comedy.
Is
and
it?
It's a Mel Brooks comedy.
Is it a comedy, Safi?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's a goofy comedy, and Mel Brooks is known for his goofiness and comedy. So.
Okay. Well, who should go first, Safi?
Well, you go ahead. You always have more to say than I do.
Yeah, because I'm. Yeah. This is kind of awkward because I never wanted to watch this movie ever. As a kid, I saw all the Frankenstein movies, including the Hammer ones, and I would always see this trailer, and I thought, I don't want to watch something that turns Frankenstein into a joke, because there's already like some joke elements in the actual Frankenstein movies, like the whole thing with the hunchback dropping the brain. Oh, Safi. That scene was in the original movie, and it's just as quote unquote funny as in the original movie. And there's all sorts of things, like the way the creature sounds. He's like, ah, ah. That's the original movie. That's not Young Frankenstein. And so I never wanted to see this, because I thought, I don't want to see Frankenstein turned into a joke. There's been other good movies with a funny Frankenstein, like Mad Monster Party. That was a really good movie. I love that movie. There's the Monster Mash movie, which is probably one of my favorites. You know, the cartoon one. And Frankenstein's actually really cool in that one. Yeah, he's pretty badass. And there's other ones too. And so I was not really excited about watching this movie. But over the years, you hear people talking about it, and everyone's saying, like, this is the greatest movie of all time. It's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. A+, A+. And so over the years, I've been kind of excited to watch it. And, well, I finally watched it today for this Peter Boyle week, and, I am not a fan of this movie. It has to be my least favorite Mel Brooks movie. I've seen Dracula Dead and loving it. I think that's better than this. Even though the Frankenstein has better actors. Spaceballs is better than this. Blazing Saddles is better than this. The Producers is way better than this, of course. That's his best movie. It was boring, and, you gotta admit, Safi, it was boring. Like, even if you found stuff funny, it was a boring movie. It, like, you're sitting there, and not only, and here's the, let's really, like, dissect this movie like a human corpse. This movie is not really just Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein. It's all the Universal Frankenstein movies put into one. And I really did not like that at all. It was so irritating to watch it and be like, now they're going to take from other Frankenstein movies? Like, this movie is like Halloween 2018, Safi.
No way.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And the problem was the fact that there were a lot of parts in the movie where they didn't even have any jokes. Like, they would just do what was done in those films. They would show something, and it'd be like, I don't know, they do it in like a little exaggerated way, and it's like, okay, is this supposed to be funny? Like, is this supposed to be a joke? Am I supposed to laugh right now? Do I have to force myself to laugh? Because I don't want to, because it's not funny. And that was like the whole movie for me. There were some funny things here and there. It just felt, it was such a mess the way that they combined all those movies, combining elements like copying and pasting the thing with the little girl where they run out of stuff to throw in the water, and then she's like, "Ooh, we don't have anything else. What else could we throw in the water?" And then he looks at her, and it's like a wink, wink, nod, nod, and that was an issue for me. The whole movie had all these wink, winks and nod, nods that I really didn't need. Like the jokes would already be funny. I didn't need the characters to start looking at the camera and smiling and like nodding up and down. And so I didn't like that. Like it took out of the movie. But there were some funny things here and there. I thought all the actors were really good. It's not the actors. It's not the setting. The sets were really good for sure. I mean, they really did copy and emulate the Universal films in a good way. The problem was the script, which is a consistent problem. I did not like the script. I thought that it had a bunch of jokes that were like, they were clever jokes, but they weren't jokes that were funny enough to make me go, ha ha ha! Like, they just weren't that funny. There were some funny ones, though. I mean, I don't want to start listing off jokes that I thought were funny, but there were some fun, like a couple of funny ones. They weren't that funny though, so I don't know. Safi, it's your turn now. It's your turn to,
Well, I'm just thinking about what you're saying.
But what do you have to say to that? I mean, you got to admit it's true. Like, just objectively, like take the fact that it's funny out of it. Why does the movie have to copy and paste?
Well, see, I haven't seen all those movies, and I really had not seen all those movies when it came out, because I saw it years ago a couple of times, and it isn't the greatest comedy, but it's so classic in that I think, except for Terry Garr, all of the actors in it are dead. And it was nice to see, it's just nice to see them. And it's just a goofy movie. If you see, I was trying to watch this movie on YouTube, and I kept accidentally getting into this part where it shows where they make mistakes and then they laugh. Gene Wilder laughed during the whole movie. He just kept laughing at everything and everybody. And,
did you saw bloopers?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to watch that.
And
That'll be funny.
I mean, it's just over and over. I couldn't believe it how they almost couldn't keep a straight face, and they were telling them to stop it because they would be laughing. The other actors would be laughing too. And I love, I think it's the big eyed guy. Is it Marty Feldman? I can't remember the big eyed guy who plays Igor. And the thing at the beginning where they talk about, it's not Igor, it's Igor. It's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein.
Well, yeah, I thought that the beginning was the best part, the setup to the movie.
Yeah. Like
the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, Safi.
Sorry, I can't control that.
Ew.
Every time they talked, they said
all the actors were really good.
They were, and it's kind of like an homage to them in a way. It's a memorial, and that's why I think like the big eye guy, he died. He was like one of the earliest to pass away.
You want to let's rank the actors from funniest to least funniest.
Well, in terms of the movie?
Yeah. The movie, obviously, or not.
Well, let me think.
I would say number one
Well, that would be the little guy.
would
Wouldn't he be the funniest?
Igor.
And he would be.
Igor's the funniest.
And then when Madeline Kahn shows up at the very, very, very end,
she's fucking hardly in it. Like I couldn't.
I was shocked. I was like, I know she's, because I'd seen the movie. I know she's coming back because I know what happens between her and Frank, and like, when is she gonna come? When is she gonna come? And I looked at the amount of movie that was left, and there was hardly anything left. And what's the deal here?
I thought it was sad she wasn't in more of it since, she was in Clue, and Clue is one of my favorite movies, and that is a lot funnier than this. And she's like one of the best parts, if not the best part of that movie. So it's too bad that she was only in like the beginning and the end.
Well, I was surprised too, because in the regular Frankenstein movie, his wife had they been married yet? I can't remember. Frankenstein.
No, they were engaged.
They were engaged, and Frankenstein came and attacked her, and that all of that went on and on, and it went on for a long time. But this was very quick. He took her and went to the swamp, and then they went to this little I don't know, barn or something, and that's when their big nasty happened, I guess, and everything changed between then. He went, and then they started playing that music through the gramophone or the speaker thing, and he left her, and I'm like, what? I thought they were going to be together. I just was surprised how they I know they had to change things, and it was for the better. Like, he doesn't throw the little girl into the lake.
I thought that was sad.
And they get on the seesaw, and he flips, he sits down on it, and she pops up, and she flies through the air through her window. Her parents are scared that she's out while the monster's out, because everybody knows the monster is, unquote, running around, and they go, oh my God, our little girl, I don't know what her name was, is not in her bed. Let's go check. And at that time, then she's on the teeter-totter, and she flies through the air through the window into her bed, and then they find her. She's all asleep in her bed. So
that was kind of funny, but
they changed things so it wouldn't be exactly like the movie.
But they didn't, though. They didn't, and that's what was frustrating, was that there were so many moments like at the graveyard where, they're peeking through the gate, and remember in the original movie he's like, "Get down, Fitz, get down!" And, you thought, like, maybe they're going to do something intricate with that. And then they don't do anything. But he still does the, get down, Igor. And so they do it, but they don't do anything to change it. And there were a lot of moments like that in the film where I was kind of like, really? Like, you didn't... It was like head scratching.
Well, I don't know. You got to wonder with some. Only other Mel Brooks movie I've watched. Well, I watched The Producers.
Yeah, you saw that in the theater.
Yeah, I'd never seen
with me.
I had never seen that before.
Yeah. A++.
Well, whatever. I saw Blazing Saddles, which everybody would have a cow about because of cultural and.
Because it's funny.
What is the stuff? What do they call it?
Because it's funny.
I can't think what it's called.
Because it's funny.
Okay, Marco, something about it being inappropriate.
Oh, it's not inappropriate. It's funny.
I've seen it once, and I was actually with my parents at the theater, and we saw that. I don't really remember, because we didn't have VCRs. That wasn't a time when they were in existence. And so we went to see that movie in the theater. And it was funny. I haven't seen it since. But that's probably like one of his best funny movies, I think. That's what I hear. I could be wrong.
And have you seen Spaceballs?
No, I've never seen any of the other movies you're talking
Spaceballs
about.
is really good.
I've heard people like that.
You know, Rick Moranis plays Darth Helmet, and he has like a giant helmet.
Well, you just have to wonder, I guess, when a director like Mel Brooks, when he makes a movie like this, I mean, you look at all of his movies and how they're made, and all the ones that you've seen, you got to wonder what was he intending in this.
He was intending them all to be spoofs, and I think that that's my biggest issue, is that I really loved the producers, and the producers was it was an original story, and I really wish that he would have made more original stories rather than just making spoofs, because spoofs can only, spoofs kind of ruin things. Like, you look at Young Frankenstein and you joke about the whole story, and then it kind of taints the original Frankenstein story to some people. It doesn't for me, but I don't know. I just did not like the movie, and I thought that it was sad because all the actors were good, and this could have been like a masterpiece if it was written better, in my opinion.
Well, that's why you got to wonder. I know you're saying that he made all of his movie into like spoofs. They're spoofs of whatever subject matter they're dealing with, like in Blazing Saddles. It's a spoof of cowboys.
Spaceballs is Star Wars.
Yeah, and whatever, and this would be, of course, a spoof of Frankenstein. Because
multiple Frankenstein movies. That's the issue too.
See, and then they do this thing where that was never done in any of the originals that I know about. I guess I could be wrong, but I haven't really seen them all. But where he does a transference. Gene Wilder plays Dr. Frankenstein, and he does a transference between him and Frank, and you don't see it happen. I didn't get that, because they have I think it's Marty Feldman, and he flips all the switches. It's like the all-around machine that brings them to life, and then does transferences, which is kind of weird. They do all machine.
All the sets look cool though, like all the sets with the laboratory equipment and the bookshelves and the skulls, all that stuff looked really cool.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I guess, nothing happened. I didn't see, I don't know, I guess I missed it, or they just didn't show anything major happen. It's not like when they have Frankenstein and the monster, and he's up there, and they do the thing where they're bringing him to life. And then you have, the lightning and thunder, and you have the electrical currents. You can see them, the light of it, and this thing, I just didn't see anything happening. And so all of a sudden, though, and it doesn't seem like it took very long either, which was weird.
They do that in like a lot of Frankenstein movies where they want to transfer someone else's brain to someone else's.
Yeah, well, that's
body.
what they were doing, I guess, and it didn't happen completely. It happened enough to make him.
I think they said they only put a portion of his brain, and it was kind of unclear. But that's a problem, because that was one of the few like slightly original elements in the movie, and it wasn't explained very well. And there were some other original elements in it too, like the whole music thing, which I thought that was kind of annoying. The movie kind of gave me a headache over time with that same song playing over and over again.
Yeah, I wish they would play different music.
Yeah, I thought
I liked that music, but I mean, I didn't want to hear it over
just
and over.
Over and over, like, oh God, it's like torture.
Yeah, that's a shame, because it's a beautiful piece of music, but it's It just goes on and on and on. You almost like don't even want to watch it because you're you're so sick of it.
It makes me want to like grab the violin and beat up the violinist over the head like in fucking Psycho 3 when, Norman Bates takes his guitar and he starts beating him up with it. Like, that's what I wanted to do because I was just so irritated by the constant, and then they play it at the end like, ugh, 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 ugh. Anyways, let's finish ranking those actors. Okay, number 1 is Igor.
Yeah.
Who's number 2?
Let me think here.
Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
That wasn't much contest. Number 3. Who's number 3? I would say Terry
Garr.
Terry
Yeah,
Garr.
Terry Garr. And then Peter Boyle, and then Madeline Kahn, because she's not on very long. Oh, wait, what about
Cloris Leachman?
Cloris Leachman. She wasn't, I would put her last.
I would put her I think
because
she
wasn't on that much either, really.
And she did the music thing. She
was like a real supporting actress.
It was too bad because the scene where she revealed herself to be the one playing the music, I did think that she was really good in that scene, and she was funny in that scene, so that it was all funny. So maybe if she was in more of the movie, so in a way, I kind of wish that they had made this a part 1 or something, and then made a second one where it had more of the actors who weren't featured in this movie as much. That's what I kind of wish.
It probably is not one of his best. Mel Brooks is one of his best movies. I guess we're supposed to be talking about Peter Boyle a lot, but he's a supporting actor. And how about, did you like the part where he's up on stage and now this would have been a scientific demonstration, so when he does the heel toe thing forward and then he goes backward, and then did you like the fact though that they turned off all the lights, and they when they turned them on they were ready to do a soft shoe vaudeville dance together?
I just didn't understand what was supposed to be funny.
Well, it was just the fact that they were he was entertaining and musically inclined, and he could dance.
Because he didn't look that monstrous. He looked like a big ball of clay, kind of like he It would have been funny if it was like a really horrific looking Boris Karloff monster doing that. But
yeah, but I don't know about that. I don't think it would have worked the same way. Can you really imagine a kind of a greenish face Frankenstein with the bolts in his neck and those eyes, those weird set eyes, and the hair? And
well, because you're saying what's funny. You're saying what's funny is that you have this reanimated person and he's doing a dance, even though he should be dead. Well, I didn't think he was he wasn't very much of a monster.
No, I agree with you. I don't think he was either.
He was one of the weakest parts of the movie, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, maybe. But whatever, if it's just a spoof, then you're not going to have things the way they would traditionally be like.
Well, in contrast, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Excuse me. That movie is a lot better than this. And the Frankenstein is a lot more serious, quote unquote, but he's still funny. And you have the Frankenstein and the Monster Squad. I can't believe I forgot about that. Like, see, that movie's a masterpiece. So it didn't work for me.
It probably was not one of Mel Brooks's better comedic films.
Oh, what would you say it's better than The Producers, Safi?
I didn't like The Producers a lot.
Oh.
But it's not better than The Producers at all. So, But I guess I have a soft spot in my heart just because it shows all those actors, except for Terry Gard. She's very ill. She has I think
Really?
she has muscular dystrophy or something. And
Well, maybe she can get her brain transferred into someone else's body
now she probably wishes she could.
by Gene Wilder.
No, he's dead. So
Well, he can come back.
they're all dead. And it's I never saw Marty Feldman in much of anything. That was probably the only movie I've seen where I really saw him do much of anything. And he did quite a bit, and he was hilarious. Those big eyes, I mean, that was his trademark, I think. And he could do funny things just by staring and looking at different directions, and he didn't even have to say anything because he's just so goofy looking. And then because he was Igor and they wanted to give him a hump, they put a hump on his back and added
On
even more
both sides.
physicality to him that would make him, quote, funny. So
It was a moving hump.
yeah. So
It's not like the movie was a bad movie.
no,
It's just the fact that
it's,
all these years I've heard it's a masterpiece.
No,
It's the greatest thing of all time.
I'm so sick of you telling me that people would say that, because it's almost like they'd say that about anything, and that is not good. I don't like that.
Well, I know. Well, it affects your viewing of the movie when you watch it and you're like,
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so I don't know. And Peter Boyle,
He wasn't very good.
well, he
Safi.
wasn't good, but he didn't even have that big of a part.
Yeah,
I
that-
don't think that's
and see,
another thing.
Another problem.
Basically, his biggest part came at the end.
That was his best part, was at the end where he talked.
Right.
I thought that was actually like his best part.
He
where
did the soft shoe thing on stage with Gene Wilder, and then all that went awry, and then here he is supposed to be in chains too, and the police guy, which, God, that is really like, could be in any movie of any kind, you know, was taunting him, and you know, I don't know if he burned him with a cigarette or cigar or whatever that thing was, but anyway, and finally Frankenstein overpowers him, and he takes all his chains off like they're a bracelet, like he just unhinged a bracelet like it was nothing, and that was a little bit too much. I mean, it wasn't, it just, I mean, he might as well not even been chained up, put it that way. And then after that, and then at the end they do that transference, and like Marco said, that was probably his biggest, most meaningful part.
That was the best part.
And he's in the bed, and he's waiting for Madeline Kahn. He's got his glasses on. He's reading the paper or something, and he's.
But at that point, I just thought about the monsters and stuff like that, like the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, so I've got to think for a moment about how I'm going to review it in terms of food.
Well, go ahead and think about it. I'll just say a couple last things about it.
Okay.
Since this review it's come off as more negative, which, you know, it's
And
not.
I hate to say that too, because I really, like I said, it has a soft place in my heart, because all of those actors, 99% of them, they've passed away. They're very talented people, and I think Cloris Leachman was the one who most recently died, or it could have been Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder had Alzheimer's too, I think, when he passed away. I'm not even sure if he's dead.
Think about your food rating, Safi.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking
He
about
is
that
dead.
too. Okay. So, and they were so talented, and
Just
they
think
all
about
got
your
together.
food rating.
But I suggest to you people, you could watch the movie, but
Safi.
I watched the bloopers thing because it's really funny to see them laugh at each other.
Think about your rating, Safi.
Okay, go ahead, Marco.
Oh, Safi, fucking retarded. Okay, well, I thought that there were some funny jokes. I'm just trying to think of a couple to make sure that this doesn't sound too negative, I thought that Igor was funny. All the stuff with him, except for when he did a couple of wink, wink, nod, nods. I thought that that was kind of unnecessary because it's like, okay, I laughed, but now you're looking at the camera and it's like you're trying to tell me to laugh, and I don't like that. I love the thing with the bookshelf where the taking off the candle and putting it back on. I thought that was really funny. That was definitely like one of my favorite parts. And then I love the what else did I like? I guess I liked Madeline Kahn's first scene where she wouldn't let him touch her in any way.
That was funny. I mean, everything. He couldn't touch her hair. He couldn't touch her. He couldn't squeeze her too hard because she had taffeta on.
Because I think that reminds you. Think about your food review, Safi.
I already did. I already know what I'm going to do.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Yeah.
well. Doesn't that remind you a bit of old film actresses, though, where, you know, you see them in a movie and they're like, oh, no, don't kiss me too hard because of my precious makeup and my precious clothing. Like, that was very... I like that because that was original, you know, that really wasn't in... Or I think maybe that was, like, in the first Frankenstein, didn't his wife, or I mean his fiance, have like a big thick coat at one point, and like I can't remember. But overall, I would just say that I did not like it very much, but I still think that it's okay, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's just it confirmed it did everything I thought it would have done as a kid, where I didn't want to watch this because I didn't want to see Frankenstein turned into a joke. You know, I kind of prefer to see the regular story. I prefer to see him being serious. I prefer it to be that way. I don't really like seeing it spoofed, honestly. I think that there's other better things to spoof. Because as I said, as we've already said, there's already stuff in the movies that's funny. Like in the second one, you know, everyone talks about the screaming woman who goes, ah! You know, everyone talks about her and how funny she is. And so I don't know. I just it's fine. So Safi, what's your food rating?
Well, my food rating is Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Oh,
Because it's okay, but it's not really a substitute for the really good macaroni and cheese that you home make with, you know, nice fat noodles and really rich cheese, and it's hot and it has melted butter and milk, and it has a little spice in there, maybe some salt and pepper, and maybe something like chili powder or something in there to make it give it a little zing. But it's kind of a, you know, it's okay. That's kind of, you know, in this movie is just kind of okay. And I'm not really a big fan of Kraft macaroni and cheese, but I'll eat it because you know, as a side for something. But it's really just okay, and that's what this movie is. So it's there for people to eat, and this movie is there for people to watch because they can see these performers who are never going to be around again, and it's one of their many performances amongst their careers that you know, you can watch and collect in your head, and that's what I see it as. So what do you give it as a food rating?
ugh. Well, unfortunately, it's one of those movies where it gives me a headache, and it makes me feel kind of trashy. Like it's a trashy movie.
That sounds like bad alcohol then.
Yeah, like they're trashing all over the characters and story, and they're not doing it in like a super funny way, so I can't really forgive them. Whereas, you know, with his Dracula Dead and Loving It movie, although I didn't think that movie was the best thing in the world, I did think it was funnier. Like in that one, they had the they had Steven Weber as a boyfriend, Quincy, I think, or something like that, and they do the staking scene where like gallons and gallons of blood are squirting everywhere, and there's so many funny things like that they're funny, and so it makes me forgive the fact that they're shitting on Dracula. But in this movie, it's kind of like it's kind of lame, and it's kind of like I expected better. I expected funnier. It was okay, and so what I thought though is you thought of alcohol. I think of back when I used to come home from school and eat some weird snacks. And one of those snacks that I really don't like and did never like was Whoppers. I give this movie a box of Whoppers. Chocolate milk balls. Because they're trashy. They have this plasticky kind of aftertaste where it sticks all over your teeth and it's like, ugh. And you eat like a handful and you just have like a trashy feeling. Unless you eat them with other things, then they're okay. But they're just kind of trashy and kind of like, ugh. Chocolate milk balls.
Okay, well,
What do you think of that, Safi?
I kind of like Whoppers, but nowadays though, I don't know about the chocolate. Lots of the chocolate products out there, they taste fake to me, and it's part of my thing with the medication that just taints everything I eat, whether it be savory or sweet.
This is another bad Peter Boyle movie, though.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't really feature him. Yeah, although it's about Frankenstein, you think Frankenstein's monster. He's not the complete focus of the movie. It's more. I think it's more Gene Wilder.
And
Who's the focus of the movie.
It is a good movie in terms of that. Like, if we were doing a Gene Wilder week, I would have said, yeah, it's not a great movie, but, Gene Wilder is really good. A+ performance from him.
Oh, yeah.
But Peter Boyle, this kind of seems like it's going to be like the Vincent Price week a little bit.
I don't know. What are we going to watch for the next movie?
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, you're going to love that one.
Oh, boy. Well, everybody, I think we're done here. And
Yeah.
Monday, of course, we're going to have a snowstorm, so I don't know what kind of snowstorm, because here you never know. It's like hit and miss and little or a lot, and we don't get a lot of snow here. I mean, when we do, it's just like I said, it's a little or a lot, so I have no idea. When they say we're getting some, I don't know what that really means. Plus, sometimes it's just bad, like it's real windy and it's blizzardy, so you can't see, it's slick.
But that's not going to affect the reviews.
Well, it'll affect us about uploading it and getting it out there. But Monday, we're supposed to finish the X-Files Season 4 and review that. And that will be probably our next video, then, unless Marco has something planned.
Yeah, I'll be doing something tomorrow, obviously.
Okay, well, so Marco has something planned between now and Monday.
I don't know what it'll be, but I'll do something.
Okay, and so that's it, everybody. So goodbye.
Goodbye.